Intel and Recon. ISR, Intelligence, Surveillance, Reconnaissance. Oofda. This is not going to fit into a 10-minute video. National Preparedness Month. Intel and Recon. If you know, you know. If you don't, you ought to know. There's a fair bit of decent to good information out there in the prepper sphere about how to do an area study. There's also a lot of bullshit out there on how to do an area study. I can tell you from personal experience and from training and instruction that I've received, it matters more where you are than all the shit that's around you. I think a lot of people struggle with this subject as well because having this information that has then been productized and is actionable is where we get intelligence, right? Just like data points is not intelligence, it just is. Intel is something that we have verified and it's actionable. And for the vast majority of people, it's going to require you to have a network. You're going to have to interact with other people. You're going to have to people. And people don't want to people. But my neighbors are all assholes, or I live in the wrong place. Or whatever, dude, figure it out. I figured it out, and I'm not that smart. I might be more stubborn than you, but I'm not that smart. Okay? You need a network of people. Otherwise, where are you getting your human from? And what is the source of said human? You know, if it's Billy over here at the gas station, yeah, how well do you know Billy? Where did Billy get that information from? How long has it been, how many times has it been stepped on? What's the reliability of Billy as a source? How old is that information? Can you independently verify it? Etc., 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 etc. The answer to all of that is probably I don't know. And if the answer is I don't know, you could end up on wild goose chases, or worse yet, operating from bad intelligence, air quote, that's nothing more than some made up bullshit. He said, she said, I heard that, you know, Billy Sue said that, but whatever. That's garbage. Garbage in, garbage out. There are some decent resources out there. There's a YouTube channel called Forward Observer, run by a buddy of mine. His name is Mike Shelby, right here. He also wrote this book. It's called the Area Intelligence Handbook, and does a good job of explaining to you how to put together an area study for you, for your application, not from a military context, but as a preparedness-minded individual. And, you know, buy the book. It's like, what, $20? You can learn a lot from this book. It's a really good jumping off point, but you need to then take the information that's in this book, the means and methods that you develop from this book, and then filter it through your own context and start as close to home as possible. You know, somebody recently posted, tagged me in it on Instagram. Did you see in Oklahoma City they hired a drag queen to teach in one of the schools there? Yeah, I don't give a shit. I am nowhere near Oklahoma City. I replied to said person. Multiple people sent this to me, one of which was a dear friend. So if you're the dear friend watching this, I'm not saying this about you. I'm saying this about all the other people that sent this to me, okay? Okay. Because as a man, if you have a beef with somebody, you tell them, not the internet. I don't have a beef with you, bro. But everybody else who sent this to me was like, oh, look at that. A schematic for a product at Refuge Medical. Look at that. The boogie. Right there. The boogie. You'll see that sooner or later. It's coming. I said, look, man, go ahead and do the research on all of the counties in Oklahoma, how they voted in the presidential elections over the last 20 to 32 years. Not a single one of them's blue. Not a single one of them has been blue. Even Oklahoma City and Tulsa, they're not blue. What happens in Oklahoma City and Tulsa does not affect me here. Okay, one drag queen got hired. That shit'll be handled by the locals in under a week, right? Like, not a problem. I don't care because it's not here, right? And so focusing here, where I'm at, matters more than what's happening in Oklahoma City. Doesn't mean there aren't some strategic targets in Oklahoma City that if, World War III starts and the nukes are flying, that, Tinker Air Force Base doesn't make a real nice target, or that the U.S. Army Ordnance Factory in McAlester, Oklahoma doesn't make a real nice target. They do. I don't live there. Maybe prevailing winds are what I need to be concerned about there, right? Another book by Mike. This one is SHTF Intelligence. You can find this at their website as well, forwardobserver.com. Good book. And there are many other resources out there as well. These two were literally at hand. So I pulled them to show them to you. If you do go over there, if you go over to the channel or you buy this book or whatever, just tell them, hey, Bear sent you. I don't get any money from that, but, sometimes, on the back end over here, you see an influx of people to your website or your channel, and you're like, what the hell happened? What did I say? Who talked about me? You don't know. So it's nice to know, right? So if you go over there, tell them Bear sent you. A lot of you guys are probably like, but I got my Baofeng UV5R right here. I'm going to turn it on, and I'm going to passively monitor all these channels, and I'm going to get as much information as I can. Cool. Just because you heard it on the radio doesn't mean that it's true. And just because you heard it on the radio doesn't mean that's the entirety of the information that exists out there in the battle space. Something to be aware of as well. Right now, you can learn stuff. You can gather data points from the radio, but that doesn't mean that that's intelligence. Okay? We got to be able to package and verify this stuff. Good intel, good operations. Bad intel, bad operations. And the cost of bad operations in SHTF is your life. So you might want to take it seriously. Cool?
Okay, Bear, tracking like a tank.
All right. Awesome. One of y'all asked me on the combat video, one of the C's of survival, but Bear, you said because your brother Saw says that the primary use of your optic is for observation. But what about binos? Would you bring binos? Because you've never mentioned binos before. Bear, binos, bear, binos, question marks, capitals, exclamation points. And then somebody else said, yeah, I was told if I ever glassed somebody, in 1979, the farmer told me if I ever glass him with my rifle that he'd shoot back. Okay, well, that's first predicated on they see you glassing them. So let's stop and think about that. Your LPOP is positioned as such that people see you glassing them. You might deserve to get shot at that point. Survival of the fittest. Second, I've hunted a lot in my life. Subsistence hunting growing up. We were poor. If I wanted meat, I had to go shoot it. I did a lot of observation with my rifle scope. The old 3 to 9 Simmons. Yep. 3 for OB, dial it up to 9 when it's time to make a shot. Yep, I've done a lot of observation through a rifle scope. Doesn't mean I don't have binos. You have a different field of view with binos. And depending on who you're handing this to, a lot more people can probably be trusted with binos than they can be trusted with scoped rifles. These are nothing special. They're Bushnell 10x50s. They come from Uline. We buy a lot of shipping stuff from Uline, and they give you free gifts when you spend X amount of dollars. And so as a result, we have, dozens of these pairs of binos just laying around, which is a thing, so that we can hand these out to people as needed. Yeah, they're a little crusty. These were outside on the porch. It's a thing. Dust in Oklahoma is a thing. But yeah, binos are good. These are 10 power. Dude, some of my rifle scopes are 25 power. I can tell you for a fact, at 200 yards, trying to find somebody that I know is hiding just inside the tree line with these 10 powers, it's very difficult to do. And I know that they are there because camo is a thing as well. Anyway, back to intel and reconnaissance, right? So, IMINT, right? Image intelligence, HUMINT, human intelligence, RUMINT, the rumor mill, bro, SIGINT, signals intelligence, which most of y'all probably don't have SIGINT intelligence, and then OSINT, open source intelligence, geospatial. Google Maps, dude, it's awesome. Onyx hunting app, it's awesome. There's apps out there and websites out there. You find out anything you want to find out on people. And this is not that video. But if you're going to start doing an area study, I would start with who the hell are my neighbors and then work out in concentric rings from there, because the people who are most immediate to you are the ones who are most likely to affect your immediate situation. Whether or not Tinker Air Force Base gets bombed with a nuclear weapon, I might want to worry about the meth heads down the street more than what's happening at Tinker. Doesn't mean that Tinker isn't important, but it's not as important as the locals. Okay, so most people sleep on area study, sleep on intelligence, forget reconnaissance. These guys, these are entire military occupational specialties. You're not going to learn all this shit in a YouTube video or in hours of YouTube videos. You're not going to learn it simply by absorbing it with your eyes or your ears. One must one must do this in order to possess the skills, actually own the skills. And so the best way to learn this stuff is to go do it. You have a MAG, a mutual assistance group. You should play the rabbit game. Have somebody be the rabbit. Follow them. Just say, hey, on Sunday, Susie, you need to be the rabbit. Cool, what do I do? Just go about your regular life, and we will debrief at 5 p.m. That's a fun game. You should try that. Yeah. And then next week, Bob's the rabbit. And then the following week, Jimmy's the rabbit. And then the next week, Tina's the rabbit. And get better and better and better at it. And so Susie knows you've got eyes on her. She also knows what you look like. She probably knows what your vehicles are. Oh, that adds an interesting element to it as well. So don't get blown while you're watching Susie. And now see also your note-taking matters, your logs, your commo, and I can read my handwriting and I understand my shorthand, but do you understand my shorthand? Can you read my writing? Did you even write it down? Did you take any pictures? How did you disseminate those pictures? How did you put all this into a report? Is Susie, who we're watching on one Sunday, mapped as part of a network? Is she a node? Who are her contacts? Who are her connects? Etc., 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 etc. It's a deep and wide rabbit hole, man. But that's at least something actionable you can take away from this. Get your mag together, play the rabbit game, and see if you get blown. My friends and I, we're not normal. We do this to each other just for the hell of it sometimes. Hell, I like sneaking up on my guys in the woods just because I can. Like, if they're in the woods, they're back at the range, I'll go walking back there, obviously not into their field of fire, and just sneak up on them because I can. Let them know I got close enough to you to stick a knife into your kidney just to see their reaction. So it's a fun game to play. Be the rabbit. Do an area study. I've got videos on this in the Prepper Classroom playlist here on YouTube. Forward Observer is a resource. Survival applications and weapons systems on his Patreon page, which if you're not there, you're square. He has some excellent videos on area studies on his Patreon page. Others have touched on it. Pastor Joe Fox on Viking Preparedness on his Patreon page. There are resources out there. You're going to have to do some digging. You're going to have to put some reps and sets in. And if you don't, you've gotten what you deserved. You need to put time into this. As seriously as you take it is the result that you will get. You give it none of your effort, you will have none of the results. You give it lots of effort, lots of time, you'll have some damn good results. And having a snapshot in time of what your area looks like now gives you a really good starting place if/when things go topsy-turvy, whether that's a hurricane or a tornado or an EMP or a nuclear attack or the Panamanian paratroopers land or civil unrest or interruption in services or economic collapse or tyranny or whatever, dude. Intelligence and reconnaissance. Yeah, I think binos are cool. This also weighs 2 pounds. This is a quart of water or 2 more AR mags or a blowout kit or a whoopee. What happens if they see you glassing them? You're bad at your job. You deserve to get shot. Bless y'all. Shalom.